what do you want to accomplish before your life's done? What's left for you to accomplish?
Well, now at first I was out here to just change my circumstances. Now it's my duty to hopefully change people's lives through my story. That a lot of us believe that we have this hardcore ceiling on our lives and what we can accomplish. I'm hopefully through my story, through my book, that ceiling pops open, and you now see that there's endless possibilities to yourself and also the human mind and what it's capable of. And that's what my journey now is to be a leader to other people, to show them what is possible.
Have you ever worked with a coach, David, or have you always held yourself accountable?
You know what's funny about that is the introduction of my book talks about that. I got invited to go down to MIT, which was very intimidating to me, to speak with these great minds of mental toughness from MIT. And there's about 200 students in the auditorium, to answer your question. And they were all asking these great minds these questions. And I was on a panel. I barely graduated high school, man. And these are these great theorists up here who studied the brain and studied the mind, how it works in harsh environments. And they studied it. They were theorists. No one ever taught me anything. I was a practitioner. I was the only true practitioner on that panel. So all these people, so no, I never had a coach. So all these people were asking these theorists questions. And one female said, Mr. Goggins, you haven't answered one question. She said, why? I go, because I don't agree with anything they're saying. Because my mindset was very different than theirs. They had taken a study of normal people, and we're all normal until we don't want to be. And they took a study of normal people, and that's where they got all of their facts from. I said, once you decide to be uncommon, all those facts go away. So all of my, stuff I talk about, it came from me going to hell, being in hell, seeing how your mind functions in a bad environment, how it processes it, and that's what I write about. I write about actual times of life and how my mind processed it and how I got through these times while being in them. So I never had a coach, no.
Somebody really wants to know what you've been drinking the whole time on the call. Looks like you had two drinks there. 2 drinks.
Well, before the call, I just got done running this morning. So one drink here was a protein shake. And I'm really big on the essential amino acids. So I take a lot of amino acids during the day. So that's what the second drink was.
Somebody asked, what advice would you give to a teenager?
About anything particular, or
just about what would the message be that you would deliver to that group right now?
Well, big time is don't follow the crowd. It is an important time of your life. This time was the most volatile time of my life. When I was a teenager, man, you think when you're a teenager that is life. Like that, those kids, those people you're around, everything there is your whole entire life. That if you're cool, you got to fit in, all these things have to happen now in this high school time of life. You're so far from the truth by thinking that you won't hardly even see these people again. This is a great time for you now to start callousing your mind and figuring out what you want to do with your life. Start to develop your own personality, your dreams, your values, what you want to stand for, standing for yourself, having a moral compass, and big time not following the crowd. But one thing about high school and being a teenager, that is a snapshot of life. But for some reason, when you're a teenager, you believe that these people are going to follow you till you're dead, and they're just your whole life. So understand this, man. I'm 43. I've probably seen 2 people from high school, and that's not on purpose. It's just what it is. So start to develop for yourself right now at this age is very important.
I think I know what you're going to say to this, but how do you stay motivated?
Well, back in the day, it was for the mere fact of I had a lot of motivation, a lot of drive, and a lot of it was just me changing who I was. Now, how I stay motivated is I travel around the country and I speak to people, young kids, older people, black, white, from all different races, colors, genders, religions, everything. And my message is always about can't hurt me. Can't hurt me is just about staying true to who you are, staying real. There's so many people that do what I do who are inspirational speakers, motivational speakers, whatever. You put yourself out there like this to be the ultimate leader. People are trying to see what you're talking about and live off your example. What motivates me now, what keeps me going up every day is you all. People who listen to me, people who follow me, people who trust in me, people who want to be better. I have to live by example. So when it's miserable outside, when I don't want to study, when I don't want to do even clean my house, make my bed, I will be a liar like I used to be if I'm telling you something that I'm not doing every single day of my life. I have to live by example. I have to live my life. So I couldn't talk to you all today if I didn't have these here following my run. If I didn't run before I talked to you all, I wouldn't have the motivation or the courage to talk to you all because I would be right now false. I would be lying. So what motivates me now is knowing that I live what I talk about, and that's what it is now. I want to practice what I preach. That's my motivation now.
Are you
Set
are
the
you
example.
are you a patient individual?
I used to not be patient at all. My life made me so anxious. My anxiety was so high from my fight or flight muscle. That's what that psoas is. That psoas is your fight or flight muscle. Once again, please study it. Once I started stretching out, so I talked about reflection, how a lot of us, we don't take those small moments and like, my God, I lost 3 pounds this week. We're gonna lose 106 pounds in 1 week. Having my mind and my body being the way it was, so much anxiety, you stretching out, I am very calm now. So now, yes, I'm very patient. I have to be very patient because I'm going to fail a lot more in life because my goals and my standards of life are very high. With that being said, I will fail a lot more. With that being said, I better be very patient because I will succeed. But I have to be patient to figure out the equation to all of this. And like I tell people sometimes, what changed my life, one thing that changed my life was I was a big believer, or I used to love watching Rocky.
Yeah.
Rocky won, round 14, Rocky won.
Apollo Creed.
That's right. Rocky gets knocked down in the 14th round. Apollo's beating the shit out of Rocky. Apollo turns around with his hands up in the air, thinks he finally knocked out this gladiator. And what I love about that scene is that I saw this movie at one of the worst times of my life growing up as a kid. And what I saw was this guy getting up when even his own trainer was saying stay down. That scene is about 2 minutes and 13 seconds long. And all I'm trying to give people, that 2 minutes and 13 seconds changed my mentality, how I look at things. Hopefully through the story you all hear, hopefully through my book, I will provide you that 2 minutes and 13 seconds to change your life. Not saying life is bad, but we can always be better. So we're always looking for that 2 minutes and 13 seconds to just to be better, to find more. And you never know what kind of form it's going to come in. It comes in all kinds of forms. It may come in a movie. It may come in just one person saying the dumbest thing to you. You say, my God, that made the most sense. So always be open-minded to that 2 minutes and 13 seconds that could change your life.
Wow. Are you a faith-based person, David?
I don't talk about it very much, but I am a huge, even though people hear my potty mouth, you will never hear me say God's name in vain, ever. I've never said it. people get so offended by, you know, the F, the S, all that shit, man. I don't understand why they get so offended by it. But I am very big in faith. And one thing I will, on that question, what also keeps me very motivated in life is play a game with me real quick, you all. Those, I don't care if you believe in God, don't believe in God, I'm not here to judge you, but just play a game with me. Say you all believe in God and say that there is a place where you are judged at the end of your life. You guys know that I was a 300-pound, pretty much guy that sprayed for cockroaches. Let's say I did that for the majority of my life. I died at 75 years old and I got to heaven. And in heaven, there's a big long line in heaven. And I can look forward and I see the line, and up ahead means 5 or 6 people. And I see this big white chart. And on the chart, it has these different names, and it's your own personal chart. And God's sitting in the chair, and you're sitting in the chair beside God, and God has your chart, and he's ripping it down. I get up there, and he has my chart. And he says, David Goggins on top of it. And he has all these things on this chart. And on the chart, it has 185 pounds, Navy SEAL, Ranger School, Guinness Book of World Records, motivational leader, blah, 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 all down the line. And I look at God and I say, God, it says my name, but none of this stuff is me. I think you have the wrong name with the wrong chart all messed up. He goes, no. This is what you should have been in your life. Because God, the God I know, knows everything. The time you're born, the time you die. My biggest fear in life is to die, to get to heaven, and to look at my chart and to not do everything I was capable of doing. To leave anything out there to risk, to leave anything out there to think about for the rest of my life of why didn't I push harder in this category or the other. So that's just another mind game I play with myself to keep me going every single day.
I got a T-shirt, David, that says "I love Jesus, but I cuss a little." Maybe I should send you one.
Well, make sure you put a lot for me.
You gave us more time than I had asked for, and you generously did this. I really appreciate you giving us the time, and for your staff, Jennifer, helping us organize this and make it happen. That means a lot to me. Any closing message, my friend?
No, if there's another question, I can answer one more, whatever, man. I mean, I'm not for sure if there is or not.
Oh, there's 1,000 questions here. I mean, technical one. Is your book going to be available on Audible?
Yes. Matter of fact, it is very, it's a unique style, the way I did it. You will definitely enjoy it. It'll be on Audible maybe before December 4th. It's coming out maybe before December 4th. I'm not for sure how the whole Audible book thing works, but there's a lot more, you will enjoy it. I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, it's on Audible and you will enjoy it.
Somebody asked, what's the best way to build up one's self-confidence?
Is honestly to make a list of things that you're not good at. And the more you start to attack that list, the more you start to attack the things that you're not great at, the more you start to break down those barriers of fear. We fear judgment. We fear judgment on ourselves. We fear all those things. Once you can break down those things by constantly doing them, by failing and falling on your face, laughing at yourself. Laughter is a huge thing at yourself. Kind of scraping away all that crap, all that artificial crap. It starts though with doing things that you're not comfortable doing and realizing, wow, there's a lot of growth. If I were to continue doing what I was comfortable doing, none of you would have ever heard of David Goggins, ever. So there's a lot on the other side of that box. There's a lot out there. So start there. I answered a couple more.
I think the amount of success we're going to have in our life, David, is directly related to the amount of time we can spend being uncomfortable.
Very
and you're
a
good example of living in that uncomfortable, and maybe even finding some form of energy or joy from being uncomfortable. I don't know if that's a true statement to make for you.
It's very true. You find a lot more than that even.
Did you ever make amends with your father?
So I left when I was 8. I went back. So when I left at 8 years old, I was very young. I had a very young mind. all I saw was abuse. I went back when I was 22 years old. I was a very fragile person. I was 200 and some odd pounds, very heavy, very insecure, even more secure than I was then, very damaged. But I wanted to see my dad through my own eyes as an adult, a very immature, lying, insecure adult. But I wanted to go back and see him as an adult. I went back and realized he was the evil man. And that was my father. And I realized he didn't say sorry. I didn't say sorry. I was able to forgive him because that was a big part of my journey, was being able to go back and seeing that man and seeing where I came from. The insecurities that he had to have, because my mom didn't do anything wrong to him. I didn't do anything wrong. He beat us for no reason. So to get over the hate that I had of this man, I had to realize there was a reason. I had to be grown up enough to take a different vantage point to kind of reset my mind, is to look at him, for the person he was and what made him be so evil. He's now dead. He died about 4 or 5 years ago. I didn't go to his funeral, not for hate, but just because I had moved on, and there was too much evil there. But I moved on. And I've forgiven him for whatever.
Yeah, if we don't forgive people, then they continue to steal from our mind and our heart and our body. And forgiveness can actually be a very selfish thing because it sets us free for sure. Somebody wants to know
100%.
what your morning routine looks like.
So every morning I wake up, I eat breakfast. Either it's bacon and eggs, or sometimes it's oatmeal, something like that. Then I go straight for my run. I run every single morning, because I literally, y'all may not believe it, it's the one thing I hate to do more than anything in the world. But it sets the tone because I beat myself. If you beat yourself every day and you continue to win those battles, that's what develops this. I come home, I usually go to the gym, and that's before my day even starts. Then I'm working. I have tons of work I do nowadays as a retired guy. As you all know, from the months of April to September, I'm a wildland firefighter. And then every single night, I stretch out for 2 to 3 hours, 2.5 hours, every single night. That is my daily life. And that's it. That's what I do.
What do you do? What do you do while you're stretching out?
Sometimes I do absolutely nothing. I just sit there, and I'm big on rehab and prehab, recovering my body, recovering my mind. Life can get stressful. Life can get fast. I like to reset. I like to go to a reset button in my mind to never allow life to continue to just come at me. I find a spot every day to where I attack life and I reset it. And during my stretch time, I reset it to get ready for the next day. I shut off work. I shut off life. I shut off noise. I shut off quiet. I shut off life. You have to do that. You have to do it every single day, no matter what you're doing. Hit the stop button. That's what I do. I reset it. Sometimes, man, I'm really big into sports. I love basketball. I love football. Those are my things I do. Sometimes I'll sit down and stretch out and watch that.
I'll make this the last question.
Okay.
Can you talk more about the calluses that you've created on your brain and how that guides you through your day? I have heard you say that a couple times.
So basically, y'all can't really see my hands, but they're very calloused. So when I was doing the pull-up record, I failed twice before I finally got it the third time. And I developed a whole hand full of calluses. And those calluses were protecting my hands. So this is where I get the whole mentality about callus in your mind. The calluses were protecting my hands from the bar, doing pull-ups. So the whole callus your mind is, you want to callus your mind against life. We've all been through a lot of hard things, and I'm callousing my mind over the victim's mentality. So I had a very victim's mentality. Once you have that mentality, you are doomed to fail. The rest of your life, you will fail. The rest of your life, you will fail. So how you start to callous over the victim mentality is really start to do these things to build self-esteem. The biggest thing, and once again, going back to that teenager, that question about the teenager, what I would tell a teenager also is you have to build self-esteem. How you build self-esteem, how you build confidence is by developing self-discipline. Self-discipline helps with all these things. Like for me, people think that why I got to where I'm at today was by running and all this other stuff. It helped. But I only talk about it for a fraction. Was how I learned how to read and write was I basically would go to the store, I would buy stacks of spiral notebooks, and I had these manuals because my mind, even to this day, it can't retain anything. So I have a photographic memory, but I don't have it just I was born with it. I go through and I write down every single page over and over and over again of a manual. When I take that test, I recall back to the manual, page 71. I remember seeing that because I wrote it down so many daggone times. I can then regurgitate it on paper. So that is how you have to start callousing your mind, by continuously going back in the fight. Go back in the fight. Fail, take 24 hours to dwell on it. It's fine. That's human nature. Go back in. And the more you go back in and go back in and go back in, like repeatedly touching that pull-up bar. If you stop touching the pull-up bar, your hands get soft. You have to continue touching the things that you don't want to touch in your mind. You start to callous your mind, it starts to build, it starts to get tougher. There is no secret to this. The only secret is you have to get outside your own head into the life that you truly want. And that comes with a lot of sacrifice, and a word that people hate is suffering. There is suffering involved in the things that you want to achieve. It's not always going to be comfortable.
Well said, buddy.